I have taken a couple days to get organized. It's not my strong suit, but it needs to be done. I had gotten very tired of the extra work I was creating for myself on cleaning up. So I spent a lot of time cleaning up around the production area, and I had 2 of these IBC totes, and I'm just going to try and come up with this scheme on minimizing my labor. I have this turned upside down because we had been getting some rain lately, guys, and I'm not digging the rain. I thought with the IBC totes I can use those for my offcuts, and if I get more of them I might leave these in the crate, but the crates, you know, are just, I can use them for other things. But I thought the scraps could be dumped into this. I can still move this around with forks. And then I also have it where this one, I put the lid on it to keep the rain out. I can shoot the chips into this. I can still move this around with forks. And Japa has this adapter which goes on the back. And I think, what do you, like a Schedule 40, something here that goes on here, maybe with a little elbow. I don't know if it's going to get jammed up or anything, but it's just a thought. I have learned that yesterday, then there's a reason why it's not on the videos, because it was, I can sum yesterday up in one word. It was awful outside. Hot, you know, I'm bent over and shoveling and stuff, and that was enough for me. I decided, you know, I'm not doing this anymore with just dumping the stuff on the ground. So I spent time, I made these 2 IBC totes, I cut these up, and we'll see how they work. If they don't work, we will adjust. And that's the name of the game here at Ohio Woodburner. These IBCs, I just figure for now, I'll set them here, and I'll fill one at a time for my offcuts. I can come in underneath and fork. I had thought I would set it under the cleaner, but I'd have to cut them down too low. I'll wait until I get more IBC totes where I can afford to cut one up like that. But I think for now, I'm just gonna keep my little dump trailer or a wheelbarrow under here to catch these things. And that should do enough for me right now. The objective is to minimize this guy's labor. The 405 has been working great. The new bolts and Loctite that we put in here has solved that problem. I haven't had any come out. And I had been running the 4, 6, and 8-way knife on this. I've taken the Perfect Split out for a couple reasons. I just wanted to see how the traditional knives worked to compare it with the Perfect Split. And I had a large group of smaller logs, and I just felt they would be perfect to run through that 4-way knife, and it worked great. It worked like a breeze. I got the 6-way in the machine. This is the 8-way. This is the 4-way. This is the Perfect Split. And what I'm going to do today, guys, we are going to put this back into the 405, and we're going to be running the Perfect Split system with these next round of logs, because they're a little bit bigger. It just seems to me it makes a lot of sense. Here is what I've learned, guys. The traditional knives, are they faster? Yes. Are they a lot faster? Maybe. I think it depends on what you are looking to do. But is the Perfect Split system slow? No. And it is fast enough for me. The reason that the Perfect Split is slower, you know, because it's pulling that log back for multiple passes through. The traditional knives just go through one time. But when you use your traditional knives, you're back to what you're used to doing, you know, if that's the processor that you've had. And that is, you're always chasing the height of that knife. And because you just aren't perfect at it, you get some pieces, you know, where the bottom pieces are too small, the top pieces are too big. If you were looking for value-added firewood, I think the Perfect Split's the way to go. The second thing, though, guys, is yes, the traditional knives are faster, but you know what? How much faster? I guess I could take some time trials on this, but that's just not my thing to do. I don't find that kind of stuff interesting. I can tell you what I've experienced. I can say that the traditional knives are faster, but are they that much faster to where this becomes a pain to use? And the answer is absolutely not. The value that you get from the perfect split system is worth that extra 15 minutes, maybe, you know, in running a same table of logs versus the traditional knife. And as for jams, guys, I haven't had a jam yet on either one. The splitting power on the 405 is dynamite. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to remove our traditional knife and we are going to reinstall the perfect split system. And then we have to adjust the computer, because if you recall, the computer controls how far the ram comes out. And with the perfect split system, it has to come out farther than it does with the traditional knife. So that's just simply a couple mouse clicks and we're ready to go. If you've been with the channel, you know we moved our production area way back here in the back 40. It gets all of the noise, all of the mess, all of the bugs away from the house, away from my barn. Moving back here has been great so far. The big thing that I've noticed though, and this might be hard for many of you to appreciate, but I tend to forget stuff. So I find myself, I come all the way out here and I forgot the key. Got to go get the key. I come all the way out here, I forget my gloves. I got to go back. So I spend a lot of time moving back and forth between the house, the barn, and my machine. But I have come up with a solution and I'm going to share it with you guys. It is in the barn. Let me go get it. Huh? Not bad, huh? I just picked this up at Harbor Freight. It's like a $10 bag. And I keep my tools, everything I need, my keys, my water. I got a couple snacks in here. Using this, I don't walk back and forth forgetting stuff as much as I used to. Now I just have to walk back once to get the bag that I forgot. We're going to install the perfect split system. I thought you guys would find this interesting. First thing we're going to do is remove the 6-way knife. And this has a crane, but I had found that this really isn't that heavy, and I'm able to pull this out myself. This is the splitting chamber in here. I'll clean it out, get all this out of the way. You can tell it sure rained last night. It rained pretty good. And I do plan to get a roof put over this machine. I think it would be good for the machine, but it would also be good for me. I don't want to be out in the sun as much as I have to. But this is going to sound weird too. I don't know how putting this under a roof is going to affect how we film it too. I want the videos to look good when we're running this, but at the same time, I'd like to avoid sunburn. And this is the 4-way perfect split. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's held in place with these 24mm nut and bolts. The 405 comes with this crane to help lift this thing into place. I would imagine there's people out there with the strength to move it by hand, but not this guy. And the way you do it, guys, you take this bar, which locks into the ears, and the cable hooks onto it, and you crank it up. I'll just show you a close-up of it here, guys, while I have it up in the air. But this is your leading edge, and if you notice, these knives down here are offset so that all of the wood is not hitting it at the same time. And they're also flared out, which separates the wood and helps it get through that splitting chamber a lot easier. And then we slide it into place. Once it's in place, we'll start lowering it. Here's the channels, guys, that we're going to run this down in between. And then from there, guys, we put the bolts in. When there's a hole back in there where you can remove the oil bucket and run an extension in there, but I'm just going to use the old-fashioned method of a wrench, and we'll get it done eventually. All right, I got my bolts in. They're not tight, but let's get this out of the way. And then we will find our 24mm socket. I didn't put it in the bag yet. I'll be right back. Right where I left it. And the back nut and bolt, we got to use our 24mm wrench, which I have right here. The next step, we have to install the pullback arm. The threads are on the arm and they slide into this, which is connected to the ram. So we have to start the engine up and run the ram out so that these holes are exposed, and then we can bolt this on. This is a diesel, guys, so we are going to let the glow plug warm up. And we got to let the computer boot up before the controls work. All right, we're ready to move the ram out. So here's the holes, guys, so we're going to bolt it into this thing here. Have I mentioned how hot it is outside? It is just hot and humid, and it's early morning and the sun hasn't really come up yet to burn off all these clouds, but man, is it hot. So this just slides in and you put these bolts into the threaded hole, and then we'll snug them down with the ratchet, 13mm. So all that heat yesterday, you know, I did the cleanup. I did that early in the morning. It was a lot of work. My nephew takes my sawdust for their chickens. All the other stuff, I just threw it in the pile, which I know a lot of you guys have a lot of great ideas, and I think I'll get there one day, but you know, I can only do so much right now. What I did do though with the larger pieces that come out of the cleaner, I saved them, and I think we got some kindling ideas, and that'll be coming up in another video. And we'll snug these off. The last step is we got to change the parameters in the computer. We're going to set it for +4. Those are numbers which determine how far the ram comes out. And the important thing with the perfect split system is that the ram goes past the leading edge of the knife. Otherwise, when you pull the log back, the bottom pieces would still be attached. So it comes out farther. It uses this nylon plastic insert to clear the bottom pieces. And when I changed this to the traditional knives, I couldn't have this ram hitting the knife. So I've dialed back the distance that this ram comes out. And we're like at -1 right now. And what we're going to do is start the engine up, let the computer boot up, and we're going to change the settings for the pusher out. Here we go. We're set up for the distance at -1, so let me show you how far out the ram comes, and it's not going to touch the knife. That is -1. We are going to bump it up to +4, and that's the setting that you run it on perfect split. Settings, pusher out. We are at -1, so we're going to go up to 4. And we'll hit OK. And close. And now let's see how far the knife comes out. +4, so let's see how far out it comes. And it hits it, and I think we're good, guys. These lids aren't just for looks. These are for safety. The moment you raise these, all of the hydraulics are cut on the engine, so that you're not able to have your hand in here and then someone hit the button and, you know, bad things happen. So when these are up, the saw doesn't work, the splitter doesn't work. We're set up on the perfect split, guys, but since I'm in the mood here of getting everything cleaned up and straightened out with the machine, I am going to go ahead and let's top off the diesel tank, which is in the barn, and I'll be right back. This is my second time putting fuel in the tank. I didn't fill it up all the way the last time. Let's go ahead and put diesel fuel in here. I will say this. I don't have a lot of experience with diesels, and the only experiences, you know, I have with a Firewood processor were those smaller gasoline engines. But I have to say, it's pretty economical on consumption. This will be the second time I have put 5 gallons of fuel in here. So come back in an hour when this thing is full. I have 12 tables of logs run through the machine right now, and this is going to be my 10th gallon of fuel. The efficiency is excellent. I think this tank holds 12 gallons, and you know, it was full when it was delivered, and then this is my second can that I've put into it. I know that fuel is an expense, but I don't know, guys. It just seems like when you're making as much wood as this makes, it's like it doesn't register. You know, it doesn't hit my radar screen about the fuel consumption. I mean, it does when you go fill these up, because, you know, diesel's not exactly cheap right now. But the amount of fuel that you're putting in to making a quart of firewood, it's just you feel like you're making out like a bandit. So we're filling this up. You're wondering why I'm not using that liquid transfer pump. It broke. It doesn't work anymore. It lasted a season and a half. I don't know what the deal is. I put in new batteries and it just doesn't work. So I don't know. It was $10 well spent. Maybe I'll get another one, or maybe they make ones that last a little bit longer. This, though, is at a great height of filling it up. It's not that hard to do. It's not, you know, like the tractor is kind of at an awkward angle. It's a little bit more difficult, but this went in pretty easy. We are really close to the top in there, guys, anyways. So I think we're good. So 5 gallons going in, and it would probably hold another gallon maybe. But we're set up and we're ready to make firewood. The work area has been helping out a lot. It's productive. There's some things still that I haven't quite figured out yet, but the one thing that we had first considered was making this the skidway, and I don't know if I want to do that right now. I have some ideas because I still have a lot of big logs that I got to chainsaw and split, and I have a lot of shade back in here, and I think I may want to make that the Easton Made axis area, and I can just keep it mowed down. One thing for sure, those guys, the poison ivy likes this area, and here you go. The way I understand poison ivy is the outside of the leaves has jagged edges, the insides are smooth, So your middle leaf is smooth on both sides, and your outside leaves are jagged on the outside, smooth on the inside. Poison ivy is no fun, and I am always vulnerable to it. I always say I can get poison ivy by looking at it. I once had poison ivy on my brain. The only way I could scratch it was by thinking about it. What do you say, guys and girls? How about let's make some firewood with the perfect split system, right? Let's go. After we load the table up with logs. For now, guys, I have my skidway back here, and I have it laying on top of those two mats. You might have seen the video where log hauler Jesse moved them over. It's a little bit of a longer path for me to take, but it's working out for me right now, and I'm just going to leave it like this until I can figure out a better way. So you get the idea. It's rough. I take it slow, but I get me a nice load of logs, and then we'll get the machine fired up and get ready to run. This is my practice though, guys. I don't work in the heat of the afternoon. When it gets hot like this, it's dangerous. Even running machines like this, you're still physically active. So I get my work done in the mornings. I take the afternoon off, and then I'm back in the evening. So I won't be running this machine till later this evening, and I'll probably get this wood stacked this evening too. And that's how it goes, guys. We will get these ran tonight, and we'll get a video of this. You're just gonna have to wait till our next video though. I wanna thank everyone for watching. Don't forget, Saturday, August 6th, 2 p.m. at Mission Barbecue in Boardman, Ohio. A meet and greet. If you can make it, please come. We will have a couple hours of hanging out, enjoying each other, and some good barbecue. I hope everyone has a great day.